Hey everybody, David Levesque here, back with another episode of the GoNoGo Safety Show. Today is July 24th, 2020, and today we're going to continue to talk about survival, which we started on at the beginning of the week and talked a little bit about yesterday. And so a lot of times the fears that we have in our life have to do with survival and maybe not being able to pay our bills, which comes back to survival because then we can't eat because obviously eating is key to survival, right? And also having money for shelter. And so we really want to talk about today money and how it works in healthcare in my experience. And so I have a little bit of experience with this. I've been in the healthcare field now for about 5 years. And the reason I got into healthcare, as a reminder, is because several people in my family have been not well for a long time. And as an engineer, I always kind of want to fix problems. So I want to understand, what's the problem with the healthcare system? Why are they not able to make this person well? And then, what's the problem with health? How does health work? What is health? And those kind of things. And so today I want to talk about kind of what I've learned about the healthcare system so far, just so you all know how it affects your survival and your safety. So you probably heard on the news that, the U.S. spends 20% of its GDP, gross domestic product, on healthcare. So that's like $3.5 trillion right now every year. So, you can look at that in two ways. You could say, well, we're spending a lot of money, so we must have good care, or it must be a good system. All the other countries in the world, just so you know, all the other developed countries in the world spend half as much. So to put that in a little more context, we spend like $10,000 or $12,000 per citizen per year on care delivery or on healthcare generally, and then every other country spends $5, right? So to me, spending less is actually better than spending more, although in the US we look at spending more as better. So the other way to look at this is to say, okay, well, if you're spending more, do you have better results? And the answer is no. We are spending twice as much as every other country, and we're ranked like 30th in the world in quality results. Now, we could talk about how you measure quality over time, but really what I want to focus on today is the financial aspect of all this, which is key to, of course, all of our survival. So how does this relate to you and your safety and your financials? Well, since the healthcare system in the United States, that's insurance companies, doctors, hospitals, are taking 20% of our GDP for that industry, that means that the money's not available for other things. It means it's not available for education and transportation and infrastructure and police forces and all this stuff. So all these other budgets are being strained. And if you have a job that's not in healthcare, your income is at risk because the healthcare expense is high and it keeps going up and up and up every year, right? So fundamentally, this is kind of the thing that I'd like to help solve with GoNoGo. And how do we do that? Well, we provide a lower cost, more effective, more accurate test, in this case for COVID-19 right now, but it can expand into other things in the future. And so I think with more accurate, more effective, lower cost tests, we can all have more of an objective baseline about our health and how our body is functioning. Like I talked yesterday about the cell reproduction and nutrition and waste and all those things. So if you're feeling pressure of not having your income increase at the rate of your expenses, you're not alone. Most people feel that way, and it's happening. And we can talk about the income gap or the middle class disappearing, or lots of different ways to categorize and talk about it. But really, what's happening is the healthcare system, and not only the healthcare system, but mainly the healthcare system in this country, like I said, the cost is going up at a rate that's unsustainable. And so that's why you see new laws like the 21st Century Cures Act, which was passed in 2016, designed to force healthcare organizations like hospitals, insurance companies, and pharma companies to behave differently. And since there's so much money involved, obviously it takes a long time to change that behavior. So my point of all this is to say that let's take a deep breath for a moment. COVID-19 has given us this opportunity to take a deep breath, to take a step back, to not be running around, to really look at our own bodies and our own health and understand what does it mean to be healthy, and to maybe not understand it, but at least consider that as a topic or a question. and and also kind of this other thing that seems to be, at least in my life, a little bit more um, elusive, which is like my immune system, right? Everybody talks about immune system strength and having a strong immune system, but I haven't seen a good way to measure that in my life outside of what we're doing here at GoNoGo, which is a very interesting voice-based diagnostic system that is really cool and going to be game-changing, and is already changing games. So your immune system is the thing that fights off diseases and infections and all kinds of things that come in from the outside that harms the basic function of your body, right? And so um, you hear lots of things. I was, in Whole Foods last week, and they had a magazine that said, the 10 foods that boost your immune system. And so, the question is, how do we measure that? What is the immune system? And so a lot of people I've talked to have said it's the white blood cell count, or your blood pressure, or how well you're sleeping. And while those things are sometimes quantitative and very measurable, or sometimes qualitative and not very measurable, they're kind of a after effect. They're not the true measure of the health of your immune system, which is its ability to fight. And so that's what one of the things we're doing at GoNoGo is taking a deeper dive into kind of all the aspects of the way your body's functioning to really come up with a quantitative, objective measure of your immune system strength. So again, to make it more concrete, there's actually a study been done by a company called the Oura Ring. Oura, it's Oura, I think, and they have a ring that measures your sleep and respiration and heart rate. It comes out with a stress algorithm based on that. And actually the NBA is working on using this to measure the stress of their players, to keep them in low stress ways so that they don't catch, so that the virus, even if they do catch it, doesn't become a disease, the COVID-19 disease, right? So, but my point of that story is to say that these measures like sleep and heart rate and things like that are quantitative measures. The ring is measuring them in a fixed, objective, quantitative way across large populations, meaning it's not just an opinion, right? So that's good. And I think also at the same time, they're an effect. They're not the cause, right? So the cause of your immune system being strong is its ability to generate white blood cells fast, as I talked about a little bit, and also the ability to remove waste. So, obviously we know what it means to pee or poop as a way of removing waste from our bodies. And there's something else that a lot of people don't know, which is the lymph system, LYMPH, the lymph system. And so the lymph system is kind of the counterpart to the circulatory or the blood system in your body. And the blood's job and the respiratory system, both the blood and the oxygen system, work to bring the nutrients to your cells. And the lymph system works to remove the waste or the extra stuff that's left over after that process happens. And it's that system that needs to be strong for you to be strong and healthy and functioning well. And I haven't seen really a good measure of the lymph system strength. And so that's why I'm excited to create that in the world. Excuse me. Been working hard on this project for a while, so a little bit tired. So I hope this is helpful to you, and I look forward to if you have other thoughts or comments or questions on this. I'm excited to share with you because this has been my life for the last 20 years of trying to understand all this stuff to get my wife Dawn back on her feet, literally, get her out of bed and onto her feet and able to participate in life again. And so, and I think that kind of sits with all of us now. We're all kind of stuck in our bedrooms and in our houses because of COVID, and we're not really living the life that we love and enjoy and get back to that. So that's why we founded GoNoGo, is to help you stop worrying and to really understand your immune system on a deep level, and not be afraid, right? because once you have that quantitative, objective understanding, then you can make decisions based on that. Do you go to the park? Do you go see your family? Do you eat differently? Those kind of things. Do you lower the stress in your life in some way? I need to lower my stress a little bit, I guess. So going back to the financial aspect of things, in my history of growing up, as I mentioned previously, money was a bad thing and not talked about. And what I want to encourage you is to not be afraid of money and to think of money as a good thing and as a blessing, both as you receive it and as you share it. And you are valuable enough to have money in your life, a lot of money, and it's not a bad thing. There's not a limit on money the way that we think of it typically, because we could just create lots of it. That's what the government does, right? And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to talk again about the healthcare system and how, again, they're not bad people, but the system is designed to take money and not redistribute it, right? Just to hang on to it, right? So last year, there was a Fortune magazine article about Apple and Google and Microsoft and how much money they're sitting on, just like they have in a bank account somewhere, and it's not circulating. And that's nice, and that gives them security, but it takes away from all of our ability to have access to that money, right? And the same thing is true of the insurance companies and the hospitals. And I can understand why they're doing it. Again, that's the system they're operating in. But the challenge for the rest of us is that it's sitting there not being used, and we don't have access to pay for the basic things we need, like food and shelter. And so there's been this talk about redistribution of wealth, and I don't want to be too political, but I do think that we need to have more fair and equitable distribution of money in our country. And I'd like to work with you to achieve that, if that's something that is passionate about you, that you're passionate about, because it's a big challenge. And the way I'm doing that in my life is to, like I've been alluding to, like give you the power over your own health, not be subject to these $500, $1,000 per month premiums from the health insurance company, or the $10,000, $20,000 doctor bills. That's not necessary. You can avoid those things. I've avoided those things for the last 20 years of my life. I can teach you how to do it. Basically, you just live a happy, healthy life, and you don't need those things. And you can keep your wealth for yourself and for your family, and not be giving it up to these big companies that just hold on to it and don't really give you a lot of value for it. Now, there are other perspectives I'm sure that people can have on that. I'm sorry I'm yawning so much. I'm surprised that this topic is making me maybe think about my strategy a little bit, but that's why I'm yawning a little bit, because it takes a good amount of effort to talk about. So, so here's my recommendation. There's a piece of software on your computer right now called a retirement planner, and it's inbuilt into Excel, or if you have a Mac, it's built into Numbers. Just go into your computer and search for the retirement savings planner or retirement planner. And you can use that software to just tell it what your age is, what age you want to retire, how much income you want to have when you retire. And it'll tell you, real simple, in a matter of seconds, how much money you need to be saving. And I know I was saying that these big companies are hoarding money and saving it, and that's not good. And it's true. And also, we need to do the same kind of strategy for ourselves, because obviously eventually we want to retire someday and not be earning an income from our work every day. And so we need to have some income to cover our expenses during that time. So my point is that I want to encourage all of us to take care of ourselves the way that these companies are taking care of themselves, and and take control back of our health and our wealth. And that's what I want to do in my life. And that's what I am doing in my life. And so I'm just looking to be helpful and to see if there's other people that want that. And hopefully we can go there together, right? So, like I said, I've been on that journey now for over 20 years. I haven't purchased health insurance. I've just paid for doctor's visits out of my pocket. And I'm not concerned really about the high risk events, the car accident, the cancer, all that kind of stuff, because the way I ensure my health is by eating healthy and having a good mindset and exercising and all the things that doctors say you should do, but don't really incentivize you to do. And so I'm trying to encourage you to be incentivized and be motivated yourself to do that for yourself. And I know it's a lot of work. I've been through it myself. I understand how you feel, and I'm happy to help. Man, so that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. If you have any questions, thoughts, please leave them here in the comments below on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever you're watching this video. And I really hope that we can, and I partially think that this whole COVID thing is this kind of resetting of the economy and resetting of our culture so that we can have more balanced wealth distribution, and also, of course, be nicer to the earth. We've slowed down a lot. We've stopped traveling. We've stopped flying, and that's what the earth needed to give us survival, to give us the food and the fresh air and the sunshine that we need. And so, in some ways, I think what's happening is the earth is saying, enough already. Human beings, you need to slow down and rethink and redo this behavior of destruction and pollution. And I think the same is true also for the economies, right? Hopefully this is a reset point where we can rethink how money is exchanged and why, and how it's sitting in big buckets in places with very few people. Like, I think the number is something like, I don't know, there's some crazy number like 5% of the people in the world have 95% of the wealth or something like that, or control 95% of the money, right? That's just a crazy thing. And I think that's why you've seen revolts and riots and those kind of things throughout history, is when that kind of disparity or happens, we get these kind of things where the people then take charge and fight back against the system. And so I think today, the Black Lives Matter movement is a sign of that. And I think there's going to be other things like that because of this system that's not fair to all the people. So let's create a system that's fair and just, and let's start with managing our own dollars and our own health. And a lot of our dollars are going to sick people, not to us. And that's an interesting strategy, which I guess we can talk about tomorrow. Most countries have it where the health care dollars are spent across the whole population and the government manages that. We have a different system in the US. But fundamentally, I think what I want to see in the world is a life where it's easy to be healthy. It's easy for you to be healthy. It's easy to know if you're healthy or not, right? That's like a simple thing that is really kind of difficult to tell right now. And so that's what I want to bring to the world. And I want to bring it to you for both your health and your wealth. So thanks so much for listening and tuning in. I'm David Levesque. Check out all our shows at, time is up. Check out all our shows, all our GoNoGo safety shows at GoNoGo.org, and we'll be in touch. Looking forward to this journey with you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.